Ken, start talking about your pump.
All right, we got a Honda pump here, most commonly known as a trash pump. And I think this is a 5-horse, but I'm not positive. But you can see the model number on it. And then we've got the outflow fitted with a quick release clamp, like you have on a fire hose. And you'll see when we put the hose on there that it's easy to take it on and off. And it's definitely worthwhile buying these things. They're expensive, but make a lot of difference. All right, here's the intake hose. And you see we've got a 1/2 millimeter mesh bag hose clamp tied to the end of this, and that's the minimum size that we want to collect. And this often gets clogged up in really fine sediment environments, so somebody has to keep clearing this to make sure that the intake doesn't get clogged up and the pump's not going to work. And this is our quick release that I was telling you about. That goes here on the intake, and that's all it takes to put it on. And all this has to do is be just slightly beneath the surface of the water. All right, and then here's the outflow hose coming up here on the top of the pump. Again, got the quick release. The outflow hose here, again, we got the quick release fire hose clamps on there. And the length of the outflow is sort of arbitrary. We've got this long enough so that we can kind of sample a good distance away from the boat. All right. Now, at the end of this hose goes what we call the manifold. You want to come up here and take a close-up of this?
Oh yeah, I want to do that.
All right. So this is kind of standard PVC plumbing material, but we have stepped down the internal diameter to try to get you the actual size of this. But the way this works, put the outflow hose on this part that flows straight through here. Again, you clamp it on, and here's our collecting bag, 1/2 millimeter mesh. And what happens is, as the water rushes through here in this direction, it creates a Venturi effect, and we actually put our suctioning device on this end. So as the water rushes through, it creates suction here, so we're pulling up what is pointed down here in this direction. All that goes through the collecting bag. All right, what we call the cod end is what fits on the end of this collecting bag, and it goes on here with these clips. This is something you can buy from a biological supply house, and we'll try to get you the specifics of where we bought them. So whenever a sample is done, you'll just remove this, put it into your Ziploc bag or whatever, and then the water sort of flows out of here, so you don't, in theory, you don't get a backflow on this. All right. Okay, the other piece of hose, which heads to the collecting end, which we call the wand, fits on here like this, same kind of thing, quick release clamps. Then we get to the end of this, and then we put on this piece of PVC, which has got a fitting that matches up with the fire hose clamp. And this is just a piece of PVC that goes on here. All right, put this on, and we cut this at an angle so that you can use this suction to sample kind of right at the surface. If you put the tip of the wand right at the surface, you don't dig down a lot. So for example, if you're sampling in seagrass beds, you won't uproot the plants at all. You'll just kind of suck out all the fine sediments at the surface. And you'll also be able to drain, as you'll see in a minute, you'll be able to drain the water column, so anything in the water column should also be pulled up in the wand here. All right.
So part of the pump is you need to prime it, and that's putting water into the, what is that part called?
Reservoir.
The reservoir. So we do about, what, 2 cupfuls before the water starts going out the bottom hose. extreme close up.
Okay.
And we're on.
So you can see that you can drain this all the way down, and we have 2 screens near the bottom of the cylinder. This is a 55-gallon drum. The screens let some water in so you don't get so much pressure that you have what we call a blowout where the sediment sort of collapses. So the screens at the bottom will show you that when we're done. That's probably a good thing, especially in soft sediments. Area of the blowout right there. Okay. And these are the screens. They're covered with 1/2 millimeter mesh, but they really help prevent blowouts that, like you just saw. That can happen all the time if you don't let some water in to relieve the pressure. And these handles are very handy here. They help you sort of screw it into the sediment and get a good tight seal. And pretty simple addition, but definitely helps a lot.
It's also good to note that you might need someone standing on either side when you're suctioning to kind of clean off the screens if you have a site with a lot of detritus on the sediment surface.
All right, now I'm going to go ahead and put this in our next location.
Hey guys, hold up over there so we can get...
All right. So just sort of twist it in, and it gets good and solid. There it is.
All right. Now the sample processing to get it out of the cod end. You need to make sure that any remaining sediment or organisms that might be in that manifold have been washed through the net.
That's good.
It's good to have tall people. And you just unscrew those connectors and make sure you have a sieve underneath in case there's any still in the manifold part. Can't really see.
I'll twist off.
There you go.
Alright.
I'm gonna rinse whatever's left in the net back into the sieve. Look to see if there's anything left. Make sure it's clear, and then hold on. So this is the sample in the cod end. I don't know if you could see that. And then go ahead and dump it.
You want me to dump it in here?
Yeah. So then you dump it into the sieve and sieve it down.
What you get when the barcode comes out.
No 3-day sample.